The Arizona Supreme Court has sided and said, and I was 100% wrong in my conversation this morning with Gatos. I thought they would side with the 15-week ban, but what they said is it defaults back to 1864, and that's what the Constitution says. We're going to start hearing about a radical Supreme Court and all these other things when they are interpreting the Constitution. They don't make the laws, they interpret the Constitution. That now falls back on the legislature. So we're going to get into deeper details of what the decision was rendered and what it says at 10:35. But right now, what we're going to look at is the election piece of this. This will now fall onto the shoulders of the state legislature. This, and I'm making a prediction. I was wrong this morning. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong here. The biggest issue for voters in Arizona has been the border and the economy. And that has been with independent voters, and that has been with Republican voters. With Democrat voters in the state of Arizona, abortion remains, or access to abortion remains one of the key issues. So they are motivated by this issue in the Democratic Party. In the state legislature, the Republicans enjoy a one-seat majority in the House and in the Senate. It is the slimmest of margins of majority in both chambers. We know we have a Democrat governor. Arizona's been like this for a very long time. At a time when I lived here, when we had very, very solid majorities of Republicans in the House and the Senate, we elected two-term governor Janet Napolitano. So these people of Arizona have been known, although they vote very, very red in many, many cases, or have in the past, I should say. We elected a two-term pretty liberal. I mean, and she was a liberal governor, and I'm not saying that as a criticism. We elected Janet Napolitano. She was then given a cabinet position as Homeland Security Secretary in the Obama administration. So this is not like we elected a moderate in the midst of all of that. So how this plays out in the court of the elections, how this plays out in Arizona, is now this issue of access to abortion will become a huge issue with independent voters. That's my opinion. I think that independent or party non-declared voters are now going to look at this and say, because the Democrats, as we speak, will be getting in every district for the House and the Senate, will be running ads about access to health care for women. This is going to motivate young voters, which are largely Democrat voters. This is going to motivate moderate Republican or moderate Democrat voters of some semblance of access to abortion. Because now the only way that a 15-week ban, or the only way that we change a law that goes back to 1864, is if the legislature does it, or if there is a ballot initiative that is passed and gets on the ballot. The date is passed for that to get on the ballot here in Arizona, I believe. So we are going to have to wait till the next election cycle. That means this November, this now has risen from what has been, from the majority of voters, down the list as a priority. If you look, and I'm going by polling, not just my gut feeling. I'm looking at the poll numbers. The vast majority of Arizona voters, when you encompass Republican, party non-declared, and Democrat voters, it's Democrats that hold it as one of their key issues. The other two voting blocks don't really even have it in their top 3 or 4. This will become a much bigger issue. And you are going to see in what are considered purple districts all across Arizona, where they could swing either way, Republican or Democrat. You are going to see in those districts, candidates on the Democratic side of the aisle are going to start saying access to reproductive health care. You can call it what you want. I'm pro-life. You can call it reproductive health care. You can call it all of those things. I don't see it that way. But I'm also an observer. And I also understand this. I don't always get my way. It doesn't always go the way I want it to. So being that kind of a person and realizing that I live in a community of people that I don't always agree with, and that there are times when I will be in the minority in my thinking, that doesn't mean I think I'm wrong. It doesn't mean I shouldn't stand by my position. I'm looking at what's going to happen to the electorate in Arizona. You are going to begin to see ads in print, ads on this. You're going to hear ads on this radio station. You will hear campaign ads for statewide candidates that are running for office. This will become a much bigger issue in Arizona now. This is going to be about the attack on women and their access to reproductive health care. This is going to become about a woman's right to choose, and you may not agree with it, but it should be accessible to many women, and they are going to play that role. And all that has to flip are 1 seat or 2 seats in the House and the Senate, and we would have a Democrat-controlled legislature at both the House and the Senate and the governor's office. And this has become a major issue now in the Arizona elections. I'm not calling it good or bad. I'm making an observation, and I'm making a prediction that as we speak, candidates across Arizona will be using this issue to flip seats. Republicans better have a really good response, because in my opinion, and again, I am absolutely pro-life, but if Republicans don't have a plan to update a law that goes back to 1864, you are going to get your victory today and you are going to lose the war in November. That they need to have an updated plan that isn't 1864. That's just what I think is going to happen. Again, I'm having this conversation with a friend of mine about lies being told, and I don't want to get into it. I'm honestly sitting here sick to my stomach about the idea that I'm going to have to fight about this issue over and over again and defend myself on how I'm not anti-woman, and that people that are my friends on both sides of this conversation are going to hate me because it's such a passionate issue and I don't agree with them, that I don't think that this is a major victory long term. I don't think it's a major victory long term for the right to life. And the reason why I don't is because it's 1864. We have been arguing for decades we have to update our laws because medical technology has upgraded and has gotten better and better and better. Well, now we have a decision that defaults back to 1864, and we like the results of that. But I'm telling you right now that there has been, and that majority for Republicans has been narrowing and narrowing and narrowing for years and years and years. The economy we have is because of the decisions that have been made. The direction we've been going is because of the decisions that we've made. And now we are going to have this issue, which has not been a huge issue. And Republicans will tell you that in the last year or so, they don't win on this issue. This is not a winner for them. The former president of the United States has moderated his opinion on this, and he's taking heat from both sides for it. The Democrats don't believe that Donald Trump's telling the truth about his opinion, and Republicans on the far right are upset that he's wavering on his opinion on this. This is going to have a major impact in the elections for the state of Arizona. And at 10:35, we'll dive deeper into this decision, what it means, not just the political implications, but what it means for abortion access in the state of Arizona, which again, I think I am a right to life person. I think that that is a human life, and I think it deserves to be protected under the law. If they are going to continue that, and I think they should, they're going to have an updated law that the current law, 1864, isn't sufficient, and you're going to lose elections based on that alone. That's just what I think is going to happen. We'll find out if I'm right.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.